Yo, what it do, family? High value basketball. Back once again with the best basketball commentary on this side of the planet. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that button. Yo, we already know I have my own interesting brand of conspiracy theory mixed in with basketball analysis because art meets life. This is entertainment. This is America. This is the new Rome. We're watching the man in the Coliseum. And we already know that sports are a distraction from the real thing. We can't get too deep into it because it is all fun. I don't give a dag what nobody says. I'm an avid basketball watcher and I love the sport, played the sport. It's a part of who I am, so it is what it is. But I do got to take a second, though, to look at some of the crazy stuff that, that does pop up every once in a while. And once again, we're back here. And we're talking about the gatekeepers, yo. I ain't going to go too deep into it, but I'm starting to think that Ice Cube was right. For anybody who doesn't know, Ice Cube went on a little mini media tour with the conservative arm of the newsreel side of America. And he was basically pleading his case that the powers that be do not want the Big Three League to succeed, or they're at least trying to, keep it under wraps, won't let it progress. Basically they're just trying to make sure that the Big Three does not gain any extra high popularity to compete with the NBA. Now, of course, on one level, that's just business, competition. No one wants a threat to their own bottom line. So, there's that basic kind of element. So we can't look at it too harsh. But I ain't gonna lie, man. Seeing how what just happened with the Big Three's All-Star game, I'm really starting to believe on a different level what Ice Cube was talking about with the gatekeepers. Now, with the gatekeepers, Ice Cube is essentially alluding to, the secret society kind of angle stuff. Like I say, I ain't trying to get all flagged or nothing, but that whole thing. And he was basically saying that because he doesn't capitulate, to the people who are in alignment with those groups, they're trying to block him from doing his own independent thing. This dates back to a movie that he was going to record or film, and he did not take the jibby jab. And because he did not take the jibby jab, they kicked him off the set, kicked him off the movie. And ever since that happened, all of his business endeavors have essentially been squashed, or some type of block has been put in front of him to make sure that he is not as successful and not as vocal as he could be. And of course, as we do know, he has this basketball league, the Big Three, of retired players, certain B-level or C-level celebrities that come and play, legendary street ballers that come and play, and the like. It's a league for basically retired players to have an extended opportunity to play, and it does give a different brand of basketball to watch. And before this moment happened with him on that movie set, the Big Three was growing in popularity. The Big Three was growing in, namesake. More people were starting to watch it. They got put on CBS. They are still on CBS, but they got put on CBS for a lot of games. Like, there was a bigger schedule. And unfortunately, after this moment, all of that got dialed back a couple notches. The progress that he was making got put on hold. And because it got put on hold, he then went on his media interviews, with Tucker Carlson, some other conservative media outlets. And he was essentially saying that there is an agenda that exists that do not want people like him, essentially people who do not capitulate. There are people like him who are being blocked at virtually all costs, all secret costs that, the general public cannot see. And so, of course, I knew that was, one thing on a surface level, but this particular weekend that just passed with the Big Three All-Star weekend really got me going, because if we go to YouTube, now, again, not going too deep into it, but YouTube is more of a left-leaning, if they call it left, because I hate to use these goofy political terms, but more of a left or progressive or open, leaning kind of company. They are not essentially conservative. They're not that much conservative. Because the NBA, of course, at large is more on the left-leaning, non-conservative side of things, and as well as them being in business cahoots with one another, they have relationships in business that help one another grow. And I'm gonna lead the summer with this because it gets really weird. If you go, I know you say if you go, a lot of y'all know that basketball sports and basketball analysis, i.e., what is it? The Undisputed, the First Things First, the ESPN's First Takes, and all of those channels, the Nick Wright, the Shannon Sharp, the Colin Cowherd, all of that whole crew, right? Yes, they're on Fox News or whatever, the FSN network, but the FSN network is still tied directly into this larger conglomerate that's linked with the NBA and all of that other stuff, and YouTube and all of that. They're all like in business with one another. Haven't y'all always noticed that somehow, some way, these private channels, these cable network channels where you have to pay to watch that channel on a monthly basis, all of their sports analysis videos keep winding up on these pirated channels? Like, they all end up on these pirated channels. The pirated channels end up having more views on them than the actual channel itself a lot of times. Like, if you go to First Things First actual channel with Nick Wright, you'll see 50,000 views on whatever they talked about LeBron that day. But if you go on the Ping Jing Ling Ming, whatever that crap be called, because they do be usually Chinese linked in their titles site, that joint to have 300,000 views, and it's literally a copy of the exact same show with no changes. Now, part of the reason why that is weird is because YouTube has copyright infringement policies and things of that nature. When you copy stuff directly off of the television, especially off of cable television, those channels have full right to have that stuff removed. Like, completely. It has to be taken off. You don't, and at worst, that's at worst, that it has to be completely removed or the channel gets blocked, things of that nature. At best, the video can stay up, but you're not going to get any money from it. There's not going to be any proceeds that go your way onto those channels. Have y'all ever noticed that these channels generally, for the most part, they get to stay up and they get to pirate this information? They get to pirate the exact same channel all the time. A lot of times you will see those channels put up the show, a pirated version of the show, before the show even is aired on television. Like, need y'all to think about that for a second. How is the NBA, how is these other commentary channels allowing these fake channels to put up their content for them and they don't get it stricken down? That is generally a direct violation of YouTube's policies. Now, I say all of that to say this, because we have all of that evidence that's just blatantly out there, because I'm one of those people. Like, I don't have cable television like that. I have to go over certain friends' house sometimes to watch games, because the games on what is that, on the NBA channel and stuff like that, I can't see. So I'm a person who is very well aware of how YouTube gives us the ability to watch these shows that we generally can't watch. If the NBA and these other networks are frequently allowing these channels to keep that information up and let hundreds of thousands of people watch pirated commentary on the NBA, why is it that this big three All-Star weekend that just passed, that just had Jaylen Brown participate, the NBA's highest paid player ever in history, meaning the NBA's literally most valuable player, money-wise, this player who is essentially one of the faces of the league right now, one of the players who's the economic who's literally at the tip of the economic sphere of the NBA, he participates in the Big Three this past weekend. He participated in the All-Star game. Why can you not find any video footage of this on YouTube anywhere? I tried for however long to try to find some footage of the game, to try to find some footage of him being there. There's nothing. There's nothing on the internet. There's literally one photo of him at the Big Three, which is this thumbnail. You can barely find any shorts. You can't find literally any long form content. If you pull up the All-Star game weekend and stuff, you only see the one game. You don't see everything else that took place. And again, you do not see Jaylen Brown whatsoever. They have scrubbed him in his participation from the Big Three from the whole entire internet. It's gone. It is gone. And that's the whole thing about what makes this really weird, because this type of moment here really is proving that Ice Cube is completely right. And Ice Cube is not doing some weird fear mongering or complaining. He's telling the absolute truth that the powers that be do not want independent style entertainment or independent style media to basically get its just due, because the Big Three is not in cahoots with the NBA. The Big Three is not in cahoots with, the media outlets, the Foxes or the sports centers, ESPNs or whatever. They're not in cahoots with none of those. And so you barely get to see any Big Three highlights on those channels. You might get some every once in a while, every blue moon. But to see, again, the combination of how these channels basically allow their stuff to be pirated all over YouTube, and how this particular Big Three weekend just went down, where they scrubbed all evidence of Jaylen Brown participating, who was an NBA player, again, the highest paid NBA player in the history of the NBA. Not to say I'm convinced, but what else more do we need to see, y'all? So, just doing analysis on things as they come down the pike, man. I hope y'all see it too, family. High value basketball. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Love y'all. Peace.